Hi learners, welcome to Economic Term of the Day. I am Ramesh Singh with you. As you know, in this short session, I try to familiarize you with one economic term at a time, and aim is to give you exam oriented to the point idea which can help you in cracking objective examinations in the country. Together with that, giving you suitable idea. Okay, suppose you need to use these terms at mains level, or you are facing interview board for civil services or any exam. I began a series of discussion on economic terms few days back related to India's monetary policy, in which three terms have been already discussed with you. Today, I am going to discuss another term related to this. Today's term is Marginal Standing Facility Rate, that is shortly known as MSF rate. MSF rate. This is how it is shortly known. Okay. Let's see what exactly Marginal Standing Facility Rate is all about. Okay. So precisely speaking, MSF rate is one of the policy rates announced by RBI. There are 5 policy rates in India today announced by RBI. One of it is MSF rate. It was not announced earlier. It was introduced by RBI in 2011-12 only. That was a time when banks were facing a scarcity of short-term money, working capital. The reason it was introduced by RBI. Okay, and exactly what this is. Under this, banks borrow from RBI, and they are paying today 6.15% interest rate per annum. It means कि MSF rate is an interest rate which is announced by RBI and charged by RBI on the loans which it offers to banks for one night, that is overnight. I have given that in the next slide. Don't hurry and don't worry. See, the interest rate, it means that this is an interest rate which RBI charges on the overnight borrowing. Overnight borrowing means one day borrowings. All loans which are borrowed by banks from RBI for only one day, and one day in banking terminology and in terminology of money market, capital market and monetary policy is known as overnight borrowing. Did you understand? Overnight borrowing, the banks from it means कि if today banks borrow money from RBI for overnight, they will pay 16.15% interest on per annum basis. Per annum basis. Clear? Up now you have to know what exactly it is, because there is similar rate which is known as repo rate, and at repo rate banks borrow from RBI on daily basis. This is what is written here. I have tried to compare repo rate with MSF rate, similar to repo rate, but it is always higher than the latter because it is a penal rate. Just see what is repo rate today. It is 5.90% per annum, while MSF rate is 6.15% per annum. You see a difference. You see a difference of 0.25% per annum. Okay, this is, it means कि MSF is a costlier route to borrow loan from RBI for short term requirement, while under repo rate you can borrow for 1 day, 7 days, 14 days and 28 days also. Okay. Similarly, interest rates go on increasing. But for one night, under repo, banks pay 5.9%. But under MSF route, they pay 0.25% higher interest rate. Why this is so? Because this is a penal rate. What exactly it means? It means कि this is a rate and route for banks of punishment. Why such a punishment is given by RBI to banks? Why banks are forced to pay 0.25% higher interest rate? There is a reason. Actually, banks use this facility or route to borrow from RBI for their short-term overnight needs of fund once they are not in position to borrow under repo route due to constraints put in place by RBI under liquidity management framework. Try to understand. In India, there is a framework that is known as liquidity management framework put in place again by 2011-12. This says actually that banks on daily basis can borrow not more than not more than 1% of their net demand and time liabilities under repo. And that too, there is a segregation. Of this 1%, they will have to borrow 25% under one day repo, and rest of 75% they can borrow under 7 days, 14 days or 28 days repo. This is the constraint. It means that banks on daily basis can borrow from RBI but not more than 1% of their need detail. 25% of which will be given for overnight and rest can come only for long term repo. This is known as longer term repo. Overall, there is an upper cap. All banks together cannot borrow more than 1% of their NDTL on daily basis. अब suppose कि a bank is trying to borrow some amount of money by 11 am. By that time, this ceiling is imposed. So where they will go for overnight loan? That they can directly go to RBI. And due to this, they will have to pay a punishment interest rate of 0.25% higher. That is why it is known as penal rate. It means if banks did not do their homework in time, so they will miss borrowing from repo rate and from repo route. In that case, suppose they need working capital, then they have only one window available, one route available, that is MSF route. Clear? So RBI penalizes banks in India right since 2011-12 for not doing their homework in time, and they bleed a bit higher interest rate. To borrow this money from RBI, collaterals are required. It will be in the form of government securities in practice. Rather, in form of collateral, even gold can be used. But normally, government securities will be mortgaged by banks in India to borrow under marginal standing facility rate. As MSF is increased or decreased, operational cost of banks either increase or decrease. Accordingly, banks are forced to revise their interest rate on existing loans and new loans. This is all about marginal standing facility rate. I will advise you to subscribe this channel and join our Telegram channel. The link is being shared here IAS Abhyaas.